Mm. What up, everybody? This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. I'm back live streaming, and this is going to be the first out of the many live streams that I will be doing today. I will come back later. I'll come back later this evening to also give you my live review of today's Swamp Thing episode, today's Jet episode, and this past week's Young Justice Outsiders episode. But right now, I want to give you my editorial, my reaction, my thoughts about this recent topic that is quite problematic, but at the same time, unfortunately, not uncommon in the industry. By industry, I mean the Hollywood filmmaking and TV industry. Um, so let's get right to it. Let me give you the context here. And if you've noticed, Andrea Arnold has been trending on Twitter uh, today. And if you are not familiar with that name, Andrea Arnold is an Oscar winner. She won Oscar for a short film that she did. I believe the year 2003. I believe it. I think it's titled Wasp, which I haven't seen, but I did see her feature films. Fish Tank, American Honey. American Honey stars Shia LaBeouf, and Fish Tank stars Michael Fassbender, way back when he was just a rising star. This was before X-Men First Class, and before Shame. Go watch Fish Tank. A fantastic film. American Honey, I was not too crazy about that film, but it seems that Andrea Arnold has sort of like a theme as to her stories, that she likes to tackle stories about people people in the economic adversity, or people in the people struggling economically, right? Not necessarily a poverty porn, but a story focusing on people who are downtrodden. um so that's Andrea Arnold, and she has directed many TV episodes, many TV series, including Transparent, and um this year she directed all the episodes, or this past year I should say, all the episodes of the current season 2 of Big Little Lies. I'm a big fan of Big Little Lies, and if you notice that, every Sunday I always give my live review of the episode after I get done watching said episode. Um, and so Andre Arnold directed all 7 episodes this season, and why she's trending on Twitter right now is because it's revealed that she lost her creative control. HBO and producers David Kelly and Jean-Marc Valley. I hope I pronounced that last name correctly. I apologize. I'm not good at pronouncing names. Um, Jean-Marc Valley, David E. Kelly, and HBO took creative control away from uh, Andrea Arnold. So what happened? What's the drama about? What's the drama here? The context is this: Jean-Marc Valley, who I think is a fantastic filmmaker. He gave us one of my favorite films this past decade called Dallas Buyers Club. Um, Jean-Marc Valley directed all the episodes of Big Little Lies season 1. Um, and then he moved on to direct all the episodes of HBO's other show, Sharp Objects, which is also an equally fantastic drama. Go check it out. Um, and because he's busy doing that, and I think Objects also got renewed for second season. Well, anyway, because he was busy working on that show, Sharp Objects. HBO and producer David E. Kelly were not able to get him back in time for production on Big Little Lies season 2. And HBO and David E. Kelly, I kid you not, this is true, they were not willing to wait for Jean-Marc Valley. They wanted to have season 2 already, you know. Um, so Eventually, ultimately, Kelly, Valley, and HBO agreed. They decided to hire Andrea Arnold to handle or to helm season two. And here's the thing: I'm reading off of IndieWire. IndieWire is the website that broke this story that got trending. And I'm quoting here: when the executive producers and HBO approached Andrea Arnold about directing the second season of Big Little Lies, the pitch was simple. They not only wanted the British filmmaker to direct the entire season, they wanted an Andrea Arnold version of the show and all that entailed. It wasn't just lip service. From preparation through production into post production, Arnold was to get free reign. Um, so that's a quote from the report here. Um, the next paragraph says, according to a number of sources, though, close to the production, turns out there was a dramatic shift in the late 2018 as the show got yanked away from Arnold, and the creative control was handed over to executive producer and season one director Jean-Marc Vallée. All right, let's pause there. So, filming, the majority part took place last year on season two. And then, according to this article, there were additional photographies, additional shootings, additional scenes being shot. Not shootings, I'm sorry. Additional scenes being shot this past February. And it started in late 2018 when HBO and producer David A. Kelly start like, whoa, they see some of the stuff that was already shot and cut by Andrea Arnold, and they had second thoughts about it. They're like, oh, I don't know if we wanted to move forward with this whole Andrea Arnold version of season two. They're like, you know what we said? You know what we said about the whole free reign and you get all creative control. Yeah, we're not gonna do that anymore. So late 2018 is when they're having like little powwow. I was like, oh man, this is not good. We don't like what we're seeing here. So we have to do for the additional shoots or additional scenes that we're gonna shoot here. Take it away from her. Take the creative control. So I don't want to give you all the excerpts here, word by word, verbatim, but let me give you the context. Basically, to my understanding, they kind of had a change of heart. And according to this article, David E. Kelly, of course, David E. Kelly as a big-time producer who gave us such shows as Doogie Howser, L.A. Law, Ally McBeal. His thing is that, hey, TV is not like the movies, whereas the movies, of course, it all depends on the vision and the style and the creativity of the director, right? It at least it mostly hinges on that. TV, according to David E. Kelly, and he's done TVs like since the 80s. You can't have season one and season two looking differently or feeling, you can't have the seasons drastically different from each other as far as tone and style and vision goes. For David E. Kelly, TV has to stay the same. Season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So once you have locked down what kind of style of storytelling and filmmaking you want to have for the show, and you like what you have locked down in season one, That's it. You're just gonna use that for the rest of the years to come. That's David E. Kelly's philosophy. Um, so this whole thing with Andrea Arnold, yeah, you run with the ball all the way to the end zone, girl. Um, Obviously, ultimately, it doesn't sit well with him. You know, the cut that the HBO and David E. Kelly saw just didn't satisfy them, so they're like, you know, we got to take the control away. We're gonna give it back to Jean-Marc Valley. So let me give you the few last paragraphs of this article, and then I'm gonna give you my thoughts, my reaction to it. Here it is, and I quote: "While there was a significant reworking of the show's story through additional photography and an increased reliance on season one flashbacks, a large part of what guided Valley's reconfiguration of the second season was removing Arnold's signature contributions. 60-page scripts were slashed down to 40-plus minute episodes." That's important, so keep that in mind. Remember that one. 60-page scripts were slashed down to 40-plus minute episodes, sources say, largely by chopping up a scene to remove what one source describes as Andrea Arnold's character exploration and ephemeral stuff. Ephemeral means momentary stuff. When elements of Andrea Arnold's work do remain on screen, especially in the first episode, the scenes seem truncated. That means shortened or cut out. The editing especially choppy, and as the season has progressed, episode 5 premiered last Sunday, the show has increasingly settled into the familiar season 1 style and rhythm. 11 editors are currently credited on the show. According to sources close to Arnold, the director declined to speak to IndieWire, but sources close to Arnold says the filmmaker is heartbroken about the experience. While she wasn't pursuing the personal storytelling of her films, Arnold worked tirelessly preparing to shoot season 2, knowing that she was entering a corporate and collaborative environment where friction or pulling on the reins during production was a reasonable fear. But to have been allowed to shoot and start to edit her vision of the show and then have it taken away from her without explanation or warning was devastating. The article also describes how it was during these additional, scenes being shot, this past February. Like Andrea Arnold will be, because she's required by DGA rules to be on the set because she's the director. She's on the set, but the ones that were more hands-on during those filmings or shootings of those additional scenes, most of the time it was Jean-Marc Valley. Jean-Marc Valley. So, man, that must have really hurt, man, to just be sitting on your director's chair, but somebody else barking orders, somebody else doing the directing instead of you. And of course, that whole situation, was really obvious to the stars themselves, who, by the way, are females. Andrea Arnold is a female filmmaker. The optics must have been really terrible, especially to Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and these A-listers. The optics was not lost on them. Here you have a fiercely, mostly known for her independent work, filmmaker, director, having to watch from her chair. The scenes were shot in the style of not hers, but Jean-Marc Valley. So that's why this whole thing was trending today. And so here are my thoughts about it. I don't want to spend too long. I want to make sure that I have the notes here. Okay. As a big fan of Big Little Lies, having watched season 1 and then watching now season 2, currently I think there are 2 episodes left, right? There are 2 episodes left before the season finale. Yeah, I noticed that too. As a fan, I noticed that the episodes don't they don't deviate away from how they were shot, or the style in which they were shot from the episode one. You know, if you've seen Andrea Arnold's movies like Fish Tank and American Honey, she has her own distinctive feature. The way the way she captures some of the scenes in those movies are very, yeah, very distinctive. It's very Andrea Arnold. You know, Jean-Marc Valley has his own. And so when you see episodes in season two and you notice that this is not far different, you know, it's as if Jean-Marc Valley was the one directing. You start to notice that too. And I also noticed, yeah, the runtime seems faster this time around. In season one, it felt like each episode felt like a full hour. Um, but in season two, it was like, I kid you not, every Sunday round is like, wow, already it's finished, only 42 minutes. And then you watch Euphoria, the drama after Big Little Lies. Euphoria was like an hour 2 minutes, or an hour 5 minutes. You know, I was like, what is going on? So now we know, according to this report, that the script, 60-minute scripts got cut down to just 40 minutes something. And then Jean-Marc Valley took over the additional shoots. So that's why. And if you are asking, hey, is this kind of practice ethical, and is this common in Hollywood? Unfortunately, it kind of is. Um, and it all depends on the head honcho, the ones of financing the whole thing. Of course, one example I can give you on the top of my head was Solo: A Star Wars Story. Remember, Lucasfilm didn't like the way Phil Lord and Chris Miller handled the film. They didn't like their approach to the story. You know, they already shot a, they already shot big chunks of the film, and then they got fired, got replaced by a freaking Ron Howard. And so I think that's partly why the movie was not successful, at least in my opinion. It felt like, you know, you Ron Howard, God bless him, I love the guy, but they were trying to. It felt like when you watch the entire thing, to me, it's like you kind of want to see what is Phil Lord and Chris Miller's Star Wars movie, but it got distracted by the Ron Howardized version of Solo: A Star Wars Story. I hope I put that down correctly for you guys. So um, that's one example that I could give you on the top of my head. So it's not uncommon. Um, you can argue, well, that's the boss. Lucasfilm's the boss. In this case, HBO and producer David E. Kelly are the boss, and what they say goes, right? So if they hire you and they don't like your work, then they have the prerogative to replace you with another filmmaker that would kind of uh, fit what they wanted to achieve with that project, because they're the boss. But a counter argument to that is, hey, you, the boss, you promised Andrea Arnold full creative control. That was part of the pitch. So you having, second thoughts halfway through, or like you having second thoughts after seeing the cut, and then you're like, oh, you panic and like, oh, no, we got to go back to the style of season one. Then why did you make that promise in the first place? Like Lucasfilm, you should have known better about Phil Lord and Chris Miller's storytelling style and how they direct their set. Like, why didn't you do the research? Why did you hire them if you don't know they were gonna act like them. That you can't just hire some guy and demand them or expect them not to be them. You see where I'm getting at? Um, in this case, it's even worse because the pitch was it comes with a promise. Hey, you get full creative control. So backing out on that promise makes you, boss, the bad guy in this case. Um, I know the big deal about on Twitter is like, oh my God, sexism. This is an attack on female film. This is an attack on female filmmakers like Andrea Arnold. An insult to female filmmakers everywhere. But here's the thing: if Andrea Arnold was not female, even if she was a man, if she was, whatever, it would still be wrong because there's a um, there's a backing out on that promise. They say, hey, you get creative control, and now you're like, oh yeah, you know what, we didn't really mean that, so we're gonna take this thing away from you. Female or not, male or female, that's still wrong. And her being female filmmaker makes it, of course, makes the case even stronger because historically, female filmmakers, female filmmakers in the Hollywood industry, historically, just do not get as much opportunities or as many opportunities as the male filmmakers. So the optics of taking taking a creative control away from a female filmmaker, let me rephrase that. The optic of taking a creative control away from a filmmaker, any filmmaker, let alone a female filmmaker, that just makes you, HBO and producer E. Kelly, look like the bully, look like the, I don't know, the bully, and the guys who don't follow through with what they say or what they promise. Another thing I want to say also, I totally understand though David E. Kelly's philosophy about, hey, TV has to look the same season by season. Okay, if that's your thing, if that's your philosophy, I get it. As a TV fan myself, I sometimes we watch a show, for example, The West Wing. I think after season 3, Aaron Sorkin left the show, I believe, as a showrunner. Somebody else came in, and we, the fans, noticed like, whoa, this is different. This is not cool, So I get it, right? You want season by season to have that same appeal that draws you in, but back to that thing again. Then, you know what, HBO and Kelly, then you should have waited on Jean-Marc Valley. You should have waited. I mean, freaking Stranger Things. Season 2 was 2017. Season 3 was 2019. It doesn't need to be like in a case where every season has to be a year apart. If Jean-Marc Valley says, hey, I'm busy shooting Sharp Objects season 2, and then I'll get back to you guys, I'll get around to doing season 2 Big Little Lies. And if you really want Jean-Marc Valley's trademark or stamps or vision on Big Little Lies season 2 again, then you would wait on him, but you were not patient. You were like, no, we want to have it already. All right, we'll agree on Andrea Arnold, and we're gonna give her these promises. Oh shit! Now we're backing out on those promises because you did not want to wait on Jean-Marc Valley. So that's still your fault too. And now this leads to my last thought about this. And I've mentioned to you this in my review of this season 2 of Big Little Lies. In that, as much as I love seeing Meryl Streep and I love her character, Mary Louise, she's so spicy, right? She can compliment and insult you at the same time in one sentence. And, I've mentioned to you, like, I had reservation about season 2 whether or not they can actually do continue the story, if it's actually worth continuing at all. Um, but now with this revelation and this article about Andrea Arnold's creative control being taken away from her, you know what? Maybe there should not have been a season 2 in the first place. Um, Maybe my initial thought about, hey, season 1 was great as it was as a standalone. It should have been left as a limited series, um, where it ended with Perry falling down the stairs, and that's it. Maybe it should have been, if they had left it at that. Big Little Lies, I think, will be forever remembered as a masterpiece in the history of television. But no, they had to, like, oh, we got to continue it, and now there's this drama that puts a stain on Big Little Lies legacy. So yeah, they should have just left it with just season 1 and that's it. As much as I love Meryl Streep, if season 1 was just a standalone limited series with no follow up, that would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. But now here we are with this mess. And I looked up the Twitter accounts of Reese Witherspoon and Shailene Woodley and Zoe Kravitz. I think Nicole Kidman does not have her own Twitter account, and I don't think Laura Dern has either. But some of the stars have their own Twitter accounts, like really verified that it's them. And none of them have spoken about this Andrea Arnold stuff yet. They haven't spoken out. They haven't tweeted anything about it yet, at least as of this hour or as of this minute. And I'm sure they probably would not do that because if Reese Witherspoon or Shailene or Zoe tweeted something about that or retweeted, if they retweeted at least IndieWire's article, then I'm sure HBO and producer David E. Kelly will give them a phone call, and that would not be good. I totally understand they're contractually obligated, and I don't. Maybe years from now they'll be free to say something about it, but there's no comment yet on their end about this latest news. So yeah, that's my reaction, my thoughts. As a fan of the show, I figured I had to give my 2 cents. There are 2 episodes left until this season 2 ends, until this season 2 finishes. It's this Sunday and next Sunday. So we'll see how it goes. Overall, though, as much as I enjoyed Meryl Streep as Mary Louise, I enjoyed some of the arcs and the storylines. I enjoyed how Renata is freaking out about being or going to the poorhouse, losing her money. As much as I enjoy those, I gotta admit, season 2 is not as solid as season 1. So, and I you know what, I want to finish by saying this. Please support female filmmakers everywhere. Every Friday there's a hashtag Female Filmmaking Friday or Female Filmmaker Friday. Go hashtag, go include some of your favorite female directors. Lynn Shelton, Olivia Wilde, who else? Catherine Bigelow, Catherine Hardwig, Kathy Cola, you name it. Go support them. We need more female filmmakers' stories being put on the screen, the big screen and the small screen. And more projects need to be made by female filmmakers. It's about time. It's 2019. Let's move forward. Let's hire more of these talented directors and give them the creative freedom. And don't yank it away like that, man. That's just not cool. That's not cool, HBO. Not cool, David E. Kelly. I'll still watch Big Little Lies remaining episodes, but what you did to Andrea Arnold is definitely uncool. So what do you think about this whole thing? Share your thoughts about it in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.